football coach at Central Lee and assistant football coach this year. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm Derek Doherty. I'm the head football coach at Fort Madison. I'm also an assistant wrestling coach and head strength coach.
Mike Kosrich, head football coach at Panorama High School. This is my second year there.
Sixth grade?
Tyler Bryant, social studies, assistant varsity football, JV girls basketball, middle school baseball.
And I am Coach Banks. I am a jack of all trades, master of none. Here we go. We're going to play the intro now. Maybe.
You're listening to the Coach Hodge and Banks Show on the Coaching Culture in Athletics Radio Broadcast Network. Sit back and enjoy the show. The views and opinions discussed in this podcast aren't necessarily the opinion of the hosts or Coach Hodge and Banks Show on the Coaching and Culture Athletics Network.
All right, so I'm going to pause that, and I'm going to throw this out there. I know Coach Hodges, he's out camping, with his wife and his family, so it's all good. Now, one of these days, I guess I'm going to have to change that introduction, guys, because it's, Hodges has been on like 3 shows, man. I'm going to have to give him a hard time about that. Welcome. Tonight's topics are going to be varied, obviously. I have a great staff on board tonight, folks. If you have a question, be sure to throw it out there on Facebook, this, that, and the other, and we'll just go with the flow. Now, guys, all of you are football coaches. Everybody was in action this past Friday night. Let's just walk around and tell everybody just how nervous you were, because we do have one new head coach. We got 2 coaches that, first year on the sidelines, and then Coach, I got to throw the coach, Mike Kosrich. This is his second year on the realm, so he's the old guy on campus tonight.
That's scary.
I didn't have any nerves, honestly. I'm more nervous being the head coach for basketball before those games than being an assistant. A little less pressure being the assistant. So, I was just excited and confident for our boys, and looking forward to actually being on the sidelines, for the first time in a long time at the high school level. So I was just excited. More so than anything. I don't think I was nervous. I left that to Coach Eric for him to be nervous. I just had a smile on my face and was ready to go.
Coach Bryant?
Yep. I was the same way. I wasn't really nervous. I mean, it was my first football coaching gig going on there, but I had the mentality of me wanting to go into the football game myself. I didn't really want to coach, and I'm sure everyone else did as well, but that was the toughest thing for me. I even made a Facebook post about it, but I was excited. I mean, the whole week I was like, "It's gonna be game day." Yeah, it's only Tuesday here, and of course, the whole day before Friday Night Lights, I was in a bus full of middle school kids, so I was pretty wild up.
That happens. Now, I took over the radio broadcast there at Radio Keokuk, about second quarter, and I saw Coach Doherty over there kind of running back and forth like a madman, and I'm going to guess that you had a few butterflies yourself.
Yeah, I tried to act like a tough guy and not show it, but man, my nerves were running, and it was wild. First experience, and I've been on the sideline for 10 years now, but it was a totally different feeling.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just don't know, and until you take over those head coaching, those roles or whatever, you really don't know what to expect. Now, Coach Kosrich, the veteran, of the Max, he is 2-0 in season openers in his career, right?
Something like that. Well, I also was 2 years at Meskwaki, so I think I might have lost one of those season openers.
Jeez.
That's 8-man football, so it's a little bit different. But, 2 good starts here at Panorama. It's kind of funny that we talk about that because warming up, we kind of, the whole time we're talking about our guys, stay focused on what we're doing. Don't look at the other team. And then it changes when you're a coach, and the whole time you're like, holy cow, 77's huge. Look at him down there. Like, he's a lot bigger in person than what we thought, So they had a nose that was 300 pounds, 6'5", that we were going to have to block. And then they had 2 D tackles that were 6'2", 240. And for a Class A school, with St. Ed's, it was like, holy cow, I'm starting to sweat, all of a sudden. These are big boys, So, no, I was still nervous.
Yeah, it brings back memories. I can't remember whether or not it was your junior or senior year, Tyler. We'd been watching all week this Louisa Muscatine team, and we were like, they look slow. They don't look that big, and then they show up, and then you're like, they're really big, and they're a little fast.
It might have been my sophomore year. They had a pretty good season that year.
Oh, every one of them were like 7'5". It's one of those things. The first question, this might be good to throw out there. Let's see. Film on Hudl does not lie. However, when you're watching it, don't you hate to be proven wrong? Game speed is so much different than watching them on film. Whoever wants to go first, after watching a little game film or whatever, what surprised you the most? And it doesn't necessarily have to be this season. It can be another season as well. Oh, it's so quiet.
I'll go ahead and jump on that with this week. Watching St. Ed's with their scrimmage and stuff, we were sitting there and game planning for their defensive line, which I talked to you about. They're all huge. And we were like, hey, we're not going to double team anybody because I really don't think even if we double team, we're going to move them. And we were like, if we just get hands on them, I don't think they're, athletic enough to make plays. But, once you get into that game, all of a sudden that 77 moves a lot better than what you thought on film, even though he is 300 pounds, So, yeah, it's exactly right, So then at halftime, we're sitting there going, we got to start double teaming, otherwise we're not even going to get to the second level. It doesn't matter. You're exactly right. It's scary, So you watch film, and the whole time you're sitting there going, hey, how much do I want to, put into this belief? Because film can be a little deceiving at times.
Oh, man. Who's next?
I agree 100% with that because, you're fooled by film sometimes, and as an athlete, I remember the first time I watched myself on film. You think that you're doing some things, and then you watch yourself on film, and you're like, "That's what I look like," and so you can't. I don't know. You can't ever fully trust the speed of the film and things like that because more times than not, you get out there and you realize that these dudes are way faster than they look on film, and hopefully it's hard getting our guys to not buy into that, not buy into, oh man, they look slow. Well, we look slow on film too, and we'd like to think that we're fairly fast.
Yeah, film's a blessing and a curse. It's wonderful to see what other teams are doing, to see what some of the concepts, maybe footwork. Just some of the small things that, film won't, film tells you about. But when you start watching it, you're thinking, oh, well, they don't look that fast. They don't look that big. And then your players start saying, oh, well, they don't look that big. They don't look that fast. And then they see him in the game. They're like, oh, sometimes I think it messes the players' minds a little bit because their minds don't work like ours right away. They process, they get their minds fixated on he's not fast, he's not big. Then they see him, and instantly they're in their heads thinking, oh, God, he's a lot bigger than I thought. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So it's nice for coaches to see it, and we want our players to watch it, but I think it can also be a curse for them in that regard.
Coach Brian, how much game film have you watched today?
None today. I took the day off. I spent all day yesterday watching film / watching NCAA games.
Well, it's one of those things too. I can remember watching, several of these really good teams out there. Yeah, you look at like Meepo when they had Ertz. You look at Pella, back in their day, and I would watch them, and I'd be like, these guys do really, they do look really good. So, game film is one of those things. Coach Doherty, how much game film have you watched today?
Probably off and on, a couple hours. I probably watch more than I don't know if more than I need to is the right statement, but I'm kind of an over-prepare a lot of times, and schematically, it's super important. I think it's more important for us as coaches to watch it and have a game plan. Even when I played in college, we didn't watch a ton of film. As athletes, our coaches broke down the schematics and had a game plan for us, and this is what we need to do to be successful. And to be honest, that's what we're trying to do with our guys, so that we avoid a lot of that. Oh, he's slow, or you watch a guy drop a pass and you laugh at him. Well, that's not a true tell of what that guy is about. So we want to try to minimize the amount of film that our guys are watching. So on us coaches, that's the important thing, is we understand what they do.
That's a good point. And I agree with it. Sometimes you can watch too much game film, especially as a player when you look at those aspects. Coach Konsowich, what do you look at, or how do you divvy up your game plan? As far as watching film and those types of procedures, and then when do you bring all the horses together to discuss the game plan?
Yeah, this week's kind of a little bit funny just because we've got our county fair going, and then obviously it's an extended weekend. So I give my guys a little bit more space. Like we're not going to meet until tomorrow, but we've got all day tomorrow to meet, and then kind of bring kids in and start doing walkthrough stuff, and then figuring out what we're going to do. But I've got a great defensive coordinator, and he takes all the defensive stuff, breaks all that stuff down, figures out what we're going to do. Then we'll come together as a whole group and kind of say, hey, here's the plays we're worried about. Here's the guys we're worried about. I kind of watch everything and just kind of, make sure I feel comfortable with what we're going to do and how we're going to approach it. And then I'll look a lot at the upcoming opponent's defense. I've got each coach breaking down certain positions that they coach. So we've got a quarterbacks coach, we've got a running backs coach, we've got a receivers coach, and our offensive line coach breaking down all of our film, as well as our defensive line, our linebackers, and secondary from last week. And then as a whole group, we'll kind of get together and we'll draw up what special teams they have. Obviously, I have something already in mind of what we want to do or how we want to prepare to attack that stuff for this upcoming week. But something that, I didn't really think about until I started becoming a head coach was, and it's really weird because we don't tell our kids to ever do this, but I'm preparing for week 3, week 4, week 5 at the same time. So when we get ready to install things, we might install something this week that we're not going to run this week, but we're getting ready to run it for week 3. So we want to practice it all week. So that way we're not just putting it in the week we're going to start running it, which is kind of hard to do, because you're sitting here thinking, all right, what are we going to show? What do we want to work on this week? We might not run it, but we still want to start working on it. And so we've got a really tough upcoming 2 weeks because we play Manson, who came off with a victory, and then we play I-35, and they were 9-0 last year, and they won their district. They beat Pella Christian, beat Pleasantville. So they had a really tough district, and they were 9-0 last year, and they beat us. So that's the team we want to get. So we've been watching, multiple teams' films leading up to this, as well as breaking down our own. So been a lot of film time for us.
Now I'm going to guess that you're going to guarantee a 9-0 record up there. Is that?
I can guarantee we're going to play to be 1-0 every week.
Yeah, I love that. Who coached you? Oh, it was Coach Knott. It was Coach Knott. All right.
There's multiple people, but you were one of them for sure.
Oh God. Yeah. Hey, coaches, I have to throw this out there. I'm probably the one that put it in, Kozowich's ear. Hey, you need to be blitzing 5 guys on every play.
We got aggressive, didn't we? We went after it.
Oh yeah.
So good stuff, though.
So I guess the next big comment or topic that I want to discuss is this. You look in the stands like last week killed me guys. I'm in the stands. I'm hearing the parents. I'm hearing the crowd. This, that, and the other. How do we better educate our parents and community on not yelling at our officials? And anybody can jump in for that. Because they were yelling at these guys, and there were some pretty brazen comments. I was on both sides, and it happens. But it does happen in football, period. But, how do we educate folks that, hey, these guys are doing the very best they can, and, they're dads and grandpas and, and are just like us?
That's a great question. I'm guilty as a coach for yelling at the officials. I yelled plenty Friday
Yes,
night.
you are, and I heard you.
And Banks, from basketball, I definitely am fairly vocal, I guess I would say.
I never say anything to any official ever.
That's a lie. Just like I never yell. You know, that's so tough. You know, just being an official. You know, I've been in ref like 3-on-3 games, and I've gotten yelled at by parents. And you would think I would learn from that, and I've tried, and sometimes it's just difficult in the heat of the moment. You know, it's just one of those things. I don't think anyone can ever really change. We can make people aware of it and parents aware of, you know, cheer on the team, support, you know, the kids, support your team, don't yell at the officials or players, but that's not going to change, unfortunately. I just think it takes talking to at the beginning of the year by the coaches saying, this is what we expect from our parents. You know, these are the non-negotiables that we need for our parents is, you know, just be a spectator, you know, cheer on the kids, no negative comments and so on and so forth. But that's just something that's so ingrained in society. I mean, most of us probably yell at the TV officials when they miss something during, you know, a college football game. You know, so we're guilty of that ourselves. And unfortunately, I just don't think that's something that we're going to be able to really change unless, you know, I notice in some states they're starting to crack down on parents in the stands and the way they behave in the legal matters. And I think that's one of the good things I think going on. But when it comes to small communities or, you know, our schools, that's just a very, very steep hill that we have to climb.
Now I do have to add this for the, you know, the other coaches that are going to respond to that, you know, to that topic. How do you smooth those officials? Do you say, hey guys, we're going to give you some extra water, you know, or hey, you know what? I mean, do you do that? I used to as an AD and a coach. I'm not going to lie. Everybody's quiet.
I'll jump in here real quick. First and foremost, I think with the parents and the fans, you know, part of it, you know, I like it because it means that the parents and the fans are passionate and they care about the game, you know. But obviously, you're seeing some fans cross that line, you know. And I think that goes a lot of credit to our athletic director. She's she's one of the only female athletic directors out there in the state, and she's very passionate about her job. It's Erin Kirtley, and you know, she's very proactive on things like that. So posting things, reminding parents, communicating with parents, you know, setting expectations, having a full. We have a parent meeting at the beginning, and she kind of addresses a lot of things of the school year. So I think she's done a great job. You know, I've learned a lot from her. And then your second thing there was the smoothing of the officials. You know, I think something that I learned a long time ago was when I was at the University of Iowa, and it was something that kind of Kirk Ferentz does. And he says, you know, call people by their name, you know. So on my play call sheet, I have a spot where I write down the head official's name. So that way, in the heat of the moment, I can look down, I can see it and know it, you know, because I'm not very good with names. And then always my sideline judge, you know, so that way I got the guy on my sideline and I'm addressing them by their name. You know, I'm not, you know, hey, sir, hey, Chuck, I was just curious, you know, what were you thinking? Because I think it goes a long ways whenever somebody says that. And I know it meant a lot to me whenever Kirk Ferentz walked through the, you know, football program facility and he said, hey, Mike, how's your day? You know, that meant a lot more to me than, hey, how's your day? Hey, how's it going? You know, the fact that he addressed me by my name, it was like, okay, I appreciate that. This is nice, you know. So that kind of really sunk into me. And so from now on, you know, I always have that on my play call sheet. So just a spot that I pencil in the officials' names and stuff. And I think it helps and it goes a long ways.
Yeah. Coach Doherty, what do you think of that?
I'm stealing that. I agree with you on that. As far as the parents, I think that experience is the best teacher. And when I first got into coaching, especially wrestling, I used to ride the refs pretty hard. And then I had the opportunity to be on the Iowa USA staff, the national staff. But one of the things that you had to do was you had to referee local tournaments. And I realized real quick how fast things happen. And when you're looking at something unbiasedly, you know, sometimes you do make the wrong call or whatever. And you don't do it on purpose. And so we had a coaches meeting right before the game. And it's one thing that we're trying to work on here is you know, just live in the right way. We preach it to our kids. And as adults, we need to do the same thing. And I've never seen a referee, when you yell at him, go, you know what, coach, you're right. I'm going to change my call. So we talked about it. We know that the officials didn't wake up that morning and say, I can't wait to make a bad call against Fort Madison. I mean, that's not what they're there for. They're there sort of the same way that we're there. They love football and they want to give back to the sport. And, you know, we're thankful for those guys and may disagree with them. And there was some calls that I disagreed with. And I know one thing personally I need to get better at is my body language. I come off very aggressive, and I told our sideline judge that night, like, hey, man, apologize to the back judge for us because I'm not trying to be abrasive. That's just my mannerisms. And he kind of laughed. We had a pretty good conversation all night, and he said, we got pretty thick skin, and you guys aren't being too bad. So I think people stepping up and getting in those situations and volunteering, but how many people are really willing to do that? How many parents are willing to go and ref a youth league football game or something like that? They're not. And as far as schmoozing, I don't know. I mean, being nice to them, I like the calling them by names and stuff. But 100% honest, not just coaches speak or podcast speak. We just want them to call a fair game. And I don't expect special favors. And if they make a call, we had a pass interference call on us and our player was throwing his hands up. No, it was 100% pass interference, dude. So you made the right call and keep doing it. So we want fair games.
Coach Bryant and I, we've officiated a plethora of games over the years. So, I just, I'll throw that stuff out there, and it is a challenge at times, and especially, in our area. What wasn't there a football game in Illinois that was postponed to a Saturday because they couldn't find enough officials? I don't know whether you guys have heard that or not, but I mean, this is something that's it's pretty out of it. And the only advice I can give out there to any parents is, these guys and gals are working their tail off. They're not there to say, okay, you know what, Panorama's going to lose today, or Central Lee or Fort Madison's going to lose. They're not there for that. And yeah, it's pretty important. But I will tell you that I was the king of schmooze. I would give all kinds of Gatorade, hot dogs. I didn't care, to Marshall Cotton. I'm sure he'll listen to this later. I used to give him extra Snicker bars. So, I was the king of schmooze. Jeez. Oh my goodness. So, here's a good question. We'll start with Tyler. What do you think is what is your biggest frustration thus far as a coach? And I know that you're not a head coach yet, which you will be, down the road. I can see that in you. And then we'll go around because the other three are head coaches. What's your biggest frustration to this point?
For me, from just Friday night, was I called a kickoff return to the perfect direction. They kicked it to that way. I was like, yes, it's forming up great. You kicked it that way for once. I did a great call. And then all of a sudden, our guys just totally whiffed on all of their assignments and left the returner out to dry. And I even said it over the headphones. I was like, I finally called the right play, and then we messed it up. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And then Chuck, our other assistant coach, was like, Tyler, I had hair before I started coaching.
Who wants to go next? Anybody? Yeah, I see it. Hey, look at here. I've been. It's been. I don't know. It's been 20 years in the business. Coach Swanson, you can go next. We'll go in some type of topographical order, or however you want to call it.
Man, that's a tough question. I just think it comes down to players not doing the things that they like, just doing their job. Like, you tell them to do something and they don't do it. Or, we had so many guys cramp up Friday night. It wasn't a hot night outside. It was perfect football weather. And we had 5, 6, 7 guys cramp up. Why? Because they don't take care of their bodies. They probably didn't drink any water all day. They probably didn't eat all day except for a little sack lunch at the end of the day that the parents gave them. It's just players not doing just the smart things, the little things they have to do every single day to be better. And I know that's a frustration in basketball. It's a frustration in football. I know all other coaches face those small little things, but something like drinking water on game day. Drinking water when it's going to be hot outside. We've had like 3 hot practices all year. It's been amazing football weather this fall. And yet the one hot practice we had that was really hot, we had guys that said they didn't drink water all day. Yep. And it's like, what are you doing? These are the small things that make the difference between winning and losing those close games. And so just not taking care of your business, the small things just outside the sport that hurt us, those are so frustrating to me because those are just boneheaded mistakes, like not drinking water or Gatorade or eating. I mean, come on.
But before Coach Doherty goes, I do have to give a shout out. AJ Hoffman's listening, and he says there are some good coaches on here. Got to watch out for those Centerville boys, though. I got to throw that out there.
Oh, AJ.
Man. So, what's your biggest frustrations thus far, Coach? And you don't have to get into detail. You can tell it in what do you call it, parables.
I would say probably the biggest frustration overall for us, one of our core values is stay the course. It's really, really frustrating how easy kids give up and they'll quit and leave the team. And the frustration not only comes with that, but the fact that they're allowed to. The household that I grew up in is if you start something, you finish it. And I think that that's a really great value to have in life. And my parents were very adamant about us doing that, and I think that it's helped me because things are going to be tough and you're not going to like it. College was tough for me. I didn't like it at times, and it was never a true thought in my mind to quit and drop out because that's not how I was raised. And so us just trying to get these kids to stay the course, when they don't, that's probably my biggest frustration, just because quitting becomes a habit. And we want our kids to be successful, and I don't know the Central League kids. I just want people to be successful in general. And I feel that coaching is such a great avenue to help people become successful, but they've got to work it themselves too. And so overall, that's my biggest frustration. But like Coach Swanson said, those little things, take care of your business, man. I love it how he said that. The little things make the big things happen. So if you want to be a next level athlete, then you got to do next level things. And you can't have wants and wishes without doing those things. Coach
Doherty, I am going to piggyback a question on there, and then we'll get to Coach Kaz's comment here in a minute. Do you think it's because the lawnmower parent, the snowplow parent, or do you think that this is just a cultural shift that we're seeing with student athletes today?
I think there's a lot of factors into it. I think it's a societal problem. Yes. I think that there's a lot of single parent houses and mom or dad or whoever they're with is so busy working and having to do that type of stuff that that focus, that support system isn't there. And to be honest, we come from a pretty low socioeconomic place, and it's easier for the parents if their kids don't play sports sometimes because they have to go home and babysit little brother and little sister. And it's a fight, and it's not just a fight here at Fort Madison. It's a fight in a lot of places right now. But us on the hill looking down, knowing what sports can do for kids, it's super frustrating.
Yeah. Coach Kozlerich.
Yeah, everybody said something good, something that I've ran into at certain times. So far in the season, I've been very fortunate. I actually had one of the best things ever said to me after a game, last Friday night. I had a kid come up to me and said, "Hey, thanks for trusting me." And I think that just goes to where everybody's moving to and what we want to hear. We want these kids to know, like, hey, we're working you all the time and we're riding you, but man, we're putting our trust in you, and we do trust you, and that's why you're out there. We believe in you. And so I just thought that was a huge one. But if I was going to go with the frustration, I guess outside my program, it's just kind of the attack on football, and then some of those youth videos that you see, lining kids up 10 yards away from each other and say go run at each other. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. But the game of football is changing faster than any other sport, to make it safer. I think it has a lot of, like you said, Coach Doherty, teaches you a lot of life lessons. It's huge for kids. And then for people to go out there and slander it, because we've got some youth football coaches around the world that would love to see a 45-pound kid knock another 45-pound kid on the ground, running full speed. I don't really get it, and so that's the biggest frustration that I have. But I'm very passionate about the game, so I kind of take it, a little bit to heart, and I kind of get a little upset, and then then I say, I better not get into a social media war, so I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Hey, and by the way, Twitter, Michael's bald too. Just, Spreaker side of things. Okay, show him your head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a known fact, man. It's a known fact. I'm good with it.
Well, that's a Kozarich thing anyway. So so I'm going to share my biggest frustration. You ready for it? Okay. My biggest frustration is and this goes for coaches, administrators, student athletes, whatever. Quit comparing yourself to others and be the very best person you can be. As a society, we compare ourselves to others so much because of this thing called social media. And by the way, social media is a beautiful thing because we get to do these shows and stuff like that. However, it does put aspects in to where you're comparing yourself with others. And as far as a team, a lot of times when you have teammates comparing each other with teammates, that's when you get a culture shock that a lot of times isn't very good. It's just one of those things. And you guys can jump into that conversation. You can say, Chuck, you're full of it. You're on your high horse. I'm totally good with that. But it's this comparison thing. It's kind of like me comparing myself with Coach Doherty as far as beards. Everybody knows that Coach Doherty has a better beard than me, or Coach Swanson, definitely has less gray hair than me, right?
Thank God, yes.
Oh my goodness! So the 45 minutes just goes by so fast. We have 13 minutes, but I do want to do this. Now it wasn't all frustration. Let's talk about what got you hyped, so excited, for last Friday night, because it was full of a lot of great things, and I'm sure that you all have epiphanies that you want to see and this and that. But what excited you the most, other than seeing Coach Doherty almost throw up on the sideline, as the game was getting ready to start, right? Whoever, let's go Swanson, Doherty, Kozarich, and Bryant.
All right. For me, it was just, it's that Friday night light feel. I mean, there's nothing like that. I love basketball. That's my passion, but there's nothing like being out under the lights on Friday night. It's just a different atmosphere. It's just a different type of environment, and it's been a long time since I've been in that type of environment as a player or coach or whatever. And so it was just, you just get excited being out there. The band playing, the crowd being loud, just, the kids on the sideline being hyped up, hearing the pads pop, all that. It's just so fun to be there, and that's what I wish people understood about football. It's not just about hitting all these people. It's just the environment that it brings. I mean, that's why every school, like if they could pick a number one sport, it'd probably be football, just because it's just such a different environment, and it just seems to carry the weight of the world of the school on those Friday night fields. And it's just a wonderful thing. So just to be out there and, experience it as a coach, for the first time in a long while, it was just exciting for me.
Yeah. That's really well said. Just really excited for our guys to finally get to compete. It's been a long summer, and they did a great job in the weight room, and then we entered into our summer practices and things like that, and to finally get under those Friday night lights and play. And we were really intrigued by this matchup because we know that Central Lee is going to be a well-disciplined, well-coached team, and we were interested to see where we stack up. And so just to finally get to play was the excitement. And we had some guys that had never played before under Friday Night Lights. So getting their first experience, all of us had our first experience at some point, and go out and make memories. And that was kind of our message to them before the game was, these are the things that you're going to talk about 10 years from now when you see each other. Go make memories. And it was cool for them to get to do that.
That's awesome. And by the way, listeners, Coach Doherty was not, looking to throw up or anything. I did, but I do.
I felt it a couple of times.
Mike, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah. So basically, same thing these guys have said. One of my big things whenever I got the job at Panorama was, to build a program and to have kids taste success. And that's what we look for on Friday nights. You get to go out and you get to display, what kind of an athlete you are, what kind of a football team you are. You get to show the whole community, and the community's waiting, and they've been wanting to know, how are we looking? How are we going to be? You know, who's doing this? Who's doing that? So just to kind of see the kids go out and compete and then just have that success, you know, and talk to them about all that preparation that's gone into it. Like, here's where it's going to pay off, because I know we preach that throughout the whole summer. Like, the summer's long, but as a coach, it's super short, you know, and we're like, hey, we've got to get here because Friday night's coming, and we started counting down, and it's like 90 days, and 90 days for a kid is like, holy cow, I'm going to be old, you know, and it's like, for a coach, it's like, now, like, we got to be ready, you know. So I think just getting out there finally and the kids actually understanding, like, okay, hey, this is going to pay off. This is going to be fun. Here's what we need to work on. So I think that's what I'm most excited about, you know, is just basically just getting week 1 over with and getting into the regular season, you know. But no, it's exciting to see him taste success and just kind of see what it's all about.
Coach Bryant.
So there's kind of 2 things that popped into my mind. First, these kids finally get to experience what we've all experienced as Friday Night Lights. I mean, there's only a select population in the whole nation that gets to play this sport all the time. And then the other part was, it's kind of selfish for me, but this is the first year I haven't played football in
a long time. Yeah.
And so for me, it was selfish. I mean, I'm still a part of football by coaching, and I'm still on the field. I'm not in the stands being one of the normal people. So that's what was going through my mind, because I mean, I'm sure I'm talking for everyone here. There's nothing that we wouldn't do to get back on that field just to play one more snap at least. I mean, that's why I do scout team quarterback. I mean, I get relive the glory days. And, like, yeah, I get sauce on some kids again. This is awesome. But it does make you wish you could play.
Okay, I'm going to throw mine out there, guys. You know what's awesome is, you know, as we always prep against each other, this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, you know, coaching is a fraternity, and you know, just seeing good friends go at it and being able to do so in a logical manner is pretty awesome. And then you had me. You know, I'm out there saying, Coach Doherty, why are you not running the ball more? You know, and then on the Central East side, I'm like, hey, you know, throw that shorter pass or this, that, and the other. Or I'm looking on my phone, you know, on WHO, and I'm like, I wonder if Kazi's winning or wonder if Garrison Carter's winning, you know, and I'm checking. And then I'm like, ooh, the pitch is on, so I get to watch 2 games at once. You know, then I get called up, you know, to fill in the radio as Kyle's got to go to the bathroom. So yeah, I am your guys' biggest fan, you know, and being a part of that coaching fraternity is just phenomenal. Because we all touch kids' lives, and we get a chance, you know, to rub shoulders and discuss all these topics. Is there anything that you you know, if you look at from the beginning of this season, maybe even beginning of the summer to now, that you would have done differently? Is there anything you would have done differently, you know, in order to be better? And we're going to go in order of Koslerich, Swanson, Doherty, Bryant.
Man, that's rough. I don't know if there's anything that I would have done differently. I think the thing that we've done that was the best thing for us was nothing with football. You know, we took our guys fishing on their last day of team camp, and I think it just brought our team together. You know, doing something outside of football, and we're in a small town, but there's 5 little towns that make up our school district, and I thought it was great to get the kids away from football but still together. We're in a rural farming community. But to see the look on some of those kids' faces when they catch a fish for the very first time in their life, it was unbelievable, you know. And we got big lineman with a little bluegill or something, and he won't touch it, and somebody else has to come over and help this big lineman. And it was just something that, you know, I wouldn't say that I would. I just think it's the most important thing that we've done this past offseason.
You know, for me, I didn't get started till a little bit later this year. You know, I was taking some time to make up my mind whether I wanted to go this route or not. You know, but just being around the football kids a little bit more. You know, I spend my summer 99% of the time with my basketball boys. Which, you know, there's some overlapping ones, but you know, I wish I would have, you know, decided to do this a little earlier in the summer, so I got a little more time to spend with, you know, the great coaching staff and then the boys a little bit longer. You know, just to build a better relationship with some of them, you know, which it's going better now that school's starting. I see them every single day, but, you know, not having the early jump in the summer, you know, like Coach Bryant did and some of the other ones did, you know, kind of put me back a little bit, but still, I mean, it's just great being around the kids.
hope it doesn't sound arrogant because I don't mean it that way, but my answer is no. I mean, I believe in our preparation and the way that we did the things, and our kids believe in it. So if they believe in it, then we're doing the right things.
For me, it's not what us coaches could have done differently, but what the culture could have done differently. I mean, we're having 2A schools and 3A schools with 30 to 40 kids. I wish that would be a lot more. Like a 3A school should have hopefully 50 kids out on a team. I mean, that's the ideal version. 2A schools, maybe 40. If you get 10 kids at each grade, we talk about this all the time. But if you get 10 kids at each grade, then you can field a team and have a lot of backups. And we're just not seeing that in a lot of towns and a lot of schools. And so I kind of hope we get past this point that football is getting a bad rep, like Coach Mike said. And hopefully it starts to build up more population wanting to play football again.
Well, we got 4 minutes left. I'm going to go rapid fire this time. So I'm going to put you on the spot, guys. You got to go 20 to 30 seconds maximum on your responses. I totally lost the question. I feel like Harry freaking Carey. I hate it when that happens. Oh no, I got it. Okay, we'll start with Coach Doherty this time. Coach, one piece of advice for your student athletes as they prepare for battle again next week.
Attitude and effort. That's what we preach. Just bring your attitude and effort. Everything will be fine.
Coach Bryant.
Go 1-0 every play. And whether it's in the classroom or on the field, you got to go 1-0.
Ooh. Coach Swanson.
Bring your best effort, your best attitude, your best game.
Coach K.
Play to the whistle. I'm sure everybody saw linemen that pull off blocks, before the whistle goes. I just think send that message, play to the whistle.
Yeah. Now, since I had the opportunity to coach Kozarich, his name, by the way, has been messed up more than anybody in America. All of his cousins too. I'm going to give you a chance to say one funny thing or one thing that really stuck with you as far as Coach Banks, and keep it G-rated, please.
Obviously our heart attack story there at Keokuk, since Keokuk, has been talked about, and they won 1-0, we go down there, obviously, we've talked about that. And then I think just at Camp Dodge, and just that was my freshman year, so just getting to know you and getting to know our coaching staff and getting away from football, but still being at football. And I can just remember, Mr. Elliott and Coach Elliott and Coach Banks, and just kind of the conversations that we had without throwing anybody under the bus. But, man, that motion was looking really good.
I'm telling you what, Coach Elliott, if you're listening, okay, I know Coach Kozarich is using that stuff, so
we still use it. We don't call it the same, and I don't show him how to run it, but
yeah,
we could use him to show us.
Coaches, if you knew Coach Elliott was about 6'5", and he was about 360 pounds, and he was running. AJ just said, okay, you know what? I'm going to post it on here because we're about done. He says, this is AJ Hoffman, that heart attack, and Elliott. Okay, he's laughing. So
the same thing he knew.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, guys, let's give shout-outs to anybody out there. We have less than 90 seconds, but, definitely give a shout-out to your team especially. And we'll start with Swanson. We'll go to Doherty, Bryant, Kozarich.
Shout out to all the Central League people on our team. We're going to work you guys hard this week so we can go 1-0 this week. So hopefully you're ready to go tomorrow.
Yep. Same thing here with our guys. Be ready to go tomorrow. We're excited to get you back. And special shout out to my coaching staff. They're phenomenal.
And they're right behind him, by the way. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to our Central League guys again. We're making a lot of changes this week, personnel-wise and players-wise, so you just got to be ready and accept those changes and just get ready to win.
Shout out to our huge coaching staff. I appreciate everything you guys have done. Then also special shout out to Trent McCann, breaking school record for the field goal. He might have made that one. South Thomas tried that one time at homecoming.
Well, I'm not going to lie. As we get down to the last 30 seconds, that kick was probably 64 yards. And Seth didn't hit it, but yeah, that's pretty awesome. For everybody within CCA, if you like what you see, be sure to share. I'm definitely going to have these guys back on because they are truly wonderful. We are out.